Hello, everybody. Welcome to Salty Saturday. Excited to be back with you once again. I'm Donde, and I'm joined yet again by Icicles. Icicles, how you doing tonight?
Good evening. I'm doing pretty well. I'm excited to cast Hearthstone. I'm a little sad we only have one match tonight, but it is a very exciting match, so hopefully that'll make up for it.
You said it. It is an exciting match, and the records that you see on the screen there kind of belies the actual skill that we're probably going to see on display tonight between LotusKnight and CmaccompH of Tap Last. Bad to the Bone is LotusKnight's team, of course. Yeah, they are only 2-4 and 3-3 respectively. Both of these are great players who are very capable, and I'm excited to see how well they play tonight because I definitely think we're in for a good match. It is a Pro Series match, as you know. That is Conquest, and we know the lists, we know the bans. They have both banned Warrior. I'm not surprised on the front of LotusKnight banning CmacComp's Warrior, as he's known as a Warrior specialist. But CmacComp just doesn't want to deal with Warrior either, so we will be seeing no control Warrior tonight.
Yeah, well, you will see a control priest, however, since
Yes.
LotusKnight left it up for CmacComp. So they both brought Demon Hunter. They both brought a pretty similar list of Soul Demon Hunter, but that's where the similarities end, because LotusKnight went with the Cyclone Mage and Weapon Rogue to add to his Demon Hunter, whereas CmacComp is bringing Face Hunter and the Control Priest. So sort of all over the spectrum here with these classes, but should make for a pretty good series. Should be some pretty competitive games.
Yeah, I like it. You've got the you've got the aggressive deck for CmacComp in the form of the Hunter, and then Lotus has got that Warrior. So it's or I'm sorry, the Warrior, that Rogue. I'm looking at Warrior. It's banned. It's banned. Rogue. I actually like the Weapon Rogue quite a bit. I think it does decently in a Conquest format where you have the option to ban. Like if you go on ladder, you take that Weapon Rogue on ladder. There's a lot of decks out there that's just going to smack it around right now. But I think in a Conquest setting, it can get the job done, especially if you do know how to play it. So I'm interested to see that Weapon Rogue. I think that's a big excitement piece for me tonight because I don't see a whole lot of people bringing it on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, it's interesting that that Lotus ended up banning a Warrior. I think it's more of a respect ban for CmacComp than an
Yeah.
actual lineup selection, because he's running a couple decks in that Weapon Rogue, in the Control Warrior, and even the Soul Demon Hunter has started to kind of be considered a favorite in that matchup against the Bomb Warrior, but giving CmacComp the respect of that Warrior to go ahead and ban it. So pretty interesting selection there by Lotus.
Yeah, I think you said it right. It's definitely seems to be more of a respect-based ban than a lineup-based ban, and no doubt a good decision in any meta to get rid of CmacComp's Warrior. So this is also an important match here for Tap Last, as they're currently down 8-3. Bad to the Bone has won with A2 Battleship taking a match over Typhoon 3-1, and Darter Binks still undefeated in THL beat the last champ 3-2. So Bad to the Bone can effectively lock this series up tonight with a LotusKnight win, and CmacComp is just trying to get it to their 1 and 2 seeds, Lawful Dog and your Mumkhead. Lawful, I presume, is playing tonight, as he's already got a ban submitted, so we might start to see some more results filter in as we play these games tonight.
Yeah, I see Lawful right now preparing to battle a friend as well, as is obviously. So it looks
that
like
is the
that'll
two
be.
players.
Yep, it looks like that will be happening simultaneously to this match. So
All right,
I don't know if we'll have any updates for you, but we'll definitely see the scoreboard update
for
hopefully
sure.
pretty soon.
Well, that being said, I think we can go ahead and let the players know that we're ready to roll. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot a message on over to both of them real quick and see if we can get it started. When we do start up, Lotus will be on the bottom of your screen. CmacComp will be on the top.
Sounds good. Yeah, I like of the decks that these players brought. I have a particular affinity towards Cyclone Mage, obviously, and the Weapon Rogue for LotusKnight, and then I am a Priest player. I love Priest, so I'm definitely excited to see CmacComp's Control Priest in action. Most of the lists look pretty standard. CmacComp's Priest does run the Cobalt Sticky Finger, so he did ban the Warrior, but it will have some good targets in the Weapon Rogue and the Demon Hunter.
Oh,
So that
absolutely.
could pay off pretty well.
Yeah, that's a great call against a Weapon Rogue, and Demon Hunter obviously has at minimum 4 weapons that they're going to play, and more if they bring them back with a Horde Pillager.
It looks like we are into the first game. We've got a Demon Hunter
Wrestling,
mirror.
yeah, wrestling with my client right now at the friends list, so hopefully we'll get that up and running here in just a second.
Yeah, so they both started with the demon art here, so it should be pretty interesting. I think the lists are fairly similar. I think the only difference is LotusKnight has opted to run a single Glaive-bound Adept and replaced it with a Spectral Sight, so to get a little extra draw, whereas CmacCompH does have both Glaive-bound, so a little extra over-the-top damage. But CmacCompH will be going first with, I'd say, a pretty decent hand overall with the Wand Maker coming up next turn, and then having the 4/5 Marrow Slicer into Lapidary, which is going to be a lot of damage.
And we are live up on the stream, or up on the screen now, so we do have access to all the cards. Thank you for giving us that play-by-play there, Icicles, as we were just getting the stream functional for everyone to see.
So probably similar to Dark Lotus here with the Wand Maker as well. So I think this matchup mostly comes down to being able to heal back the damage that is inevitable from both players. The Eldrazi Warblades, I think, is probably the most important card to have access to and to be able to use at a key moment. So we'll see if either player picks it up first and gets an advantage from that. Otherwise, they're just going to be smacking each other in the face.
Yeah, I think the real trick to this deck, for the most part, is learning when you need to turn the corner and become the aggressor. When your attacks need to start hitting face and you don't need to trade anymore, that's really the key to winning. I mean, the mirror notwithstanding, like any matchup with the Soul Demon Hunter, I think a lot of people tend to sink too many attacks into minions and then not have enough to push through and finish off the game. But if you can get your opponent down a little ways, obviously it makes your need for a big burst combo a little bit lessened. However, there is a lot of healing to go around, as you mentioned, in this matchup, so we'll see how the players navigate it as we get into the late stages.
So LotusKnight, the first sort of mini choice in that regard of having 3 damage for his face and choosing whether or not this 1/3 is worth hitting. And it looks like he's decided to go ahead and clear the board. So that, I think is a fair play this early. I don't think you're looking quite yet to push that damage, knowing how much healing can come out from the other side between the Soul Fragment and the Eldrazi.
Yeah, not all that healing is reliable in terms of knowing when you can actually get that heal, because those Soul Fragments will pop up whenever they feel like it. So as the opponent, you're constantly kind of wrestling with, do I damage just to have it healed back? Obviously, if they have the Warblades, then there's the Soul Fragment, just as we talked about. It finally hits face, and half of it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah, so this really is the purest distillation of a mirror. Not only did they play Wand Maker on 2, they got the same 1-mana spell from Wand Maker. They both played Marrow Slicer on 4. It looks like Lotus might have to deviate here. But I was going to say they both have a skull on the left side of their hand, so up to this moment, it pretty much stayed true to form in terms of just matching each other card for card. But with the damage that CmacCompH is putting now onto LotusKnight, he really needs to start thinking of how he can kind of stem the tide a little bit. So opts to play a little more defensive with some removal.
Even with the randomly generated card off the Wand Maker, they kept it mirror image with a Demon Companion, both their picks off of that. So I know the pool is not exactly the largest with the Wand Maker, which is what makes that card so good in this deck. But just funny that they're really committed to this mirror match.
Yeah. So now CmacCompH has an opportunity. I think Skull is correct here. Being so far ahead in life, even though staring down a 3/2 on a weapon, it makes sense to take advantage of the opportunity just to play the Skull here. I think the one downside is that it will also allow LotusKnight to respond with his own Skull if he chooses. I guess he's going to start with the Spirit Jailer just to shovel some fragments in to get some healing, I think. There's merit to that because you feel like you need that healing. The one downside to that is you do run the risk of sniping your discounts with
which
the
he
Skull.
Just did immediately.
Yeah. So fortunately, it's just a one-man spell, but then he hits the second one, which is just a Twin Slice. So it worked out pretty well. I think that the results definitely paid off for Lotus there. You don't mind losing a discount on 2 1-mana spells. So and getting Special Sight as the last card for free in the outcast position is really nice. So now LotusKnight has a lot of the resources that we've talked about, the Eldrazi for healing, and being able to put some damage back into CmacCompH and kind of turn this game around.
Yeah, CmacCompH does have a few tools at his disposal, but definitely not enough as it stands to be able to finish this game. And Lotus getting a little bit of that healing to get back out of really scary range there with 16 health. You still can die very easily to one one massive turn. And he hasn't seen CmaccompH use either Twin Slice yet. He hasn't seen any Chaos Strikes, which we know, one of each in hand right now.
Right. Yeah, not knowing what the cards that CmaccompH receive for free until that Mana Theater is played just has to be in the back of your mind as to what you're going to be worried about. And so the rare case where getting Philosophy off the Wandmaker is not terrible because it does double and buff the Spirit Jailer. So just kind of a little minor thing that usually don't get to take advantage of as a Demon Hunter, but worked out okay for CmaccompH there.
And another Soul Fragment pickup for Lotus. Gets a little more healing, and we will see the Warblades come down right now. He's got that Blade Dance, so he can go ahead and clear this board and also do quite a bit of damage and get some healing. Kind of switch the roles a little bit here.
Yeah, this definitely is the... Sorry.
That's okay. I was just saying, making Lotus the aggressor now all of a sudden, with CmaccompH looking for answers on how to just kind of survive.
Right. Yeah, that is kind of the key moment for the Demon Hunter Mirror, is being able to both clear a board and deal damage with that Eldrazi Warblade. So a nice sequence there to put him on the put him in the lead, at least for now.
And only one Soul Fragment in the deck for CmaccompH. We did see him pick up Sociologist, but it's not really that great if you don't have a ton of fragments in your deck. But the good news is he's got those two cheap Spirit, or, well, they're always cheap, the Spirit Jailers, but they're buffed in this case, and going to pop a bunch of fragments into the deck to make a Militia turn very real next turn if he would like.
Yeah, I think this is a good response by CmaccompH just to keep the board pressure up. You've seen a Mystic, you've seen a Blade Dance, so you know that the options for clearing this are starting to become a little more limited, but looks like Lotus is on the kill my opponent plan, so he's setting out to do just a ton of damage here, force CmaccompH to have both response to this 5/5 as well as healing, and CmaccompH's going to be hard-pressed to find that without having the Eldrazi in hand himself. I think this is just game.
Yeah, three health is not a great spot, and as you mentioned, yeah, this is going to be maybe you're going to have to try to just hope your opponent doesn't have lethal behind it. We see Kane, so we know that that is the case. Yeah. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of options here for CmaccompH.
No. At this point, and it really just came down to the fact that he did not draw the Eldrazi, and Lotus did, and then Lotus was able to follow up with the required amount of damage to lock away game one.
And we will see that Militia come down, and it would be great positioning for CmaccompH if he wasn't just unfortunately dead right here. As Lotus is going to go ahead and take game one, as you mentioned, Icicles, and we will see if CmaccompH wants to try the Soul DH one more time, or he'll opt to go in a different direction.
Yeah, so the two decks that Lotus has left, Mage and the Rogue, I think generally you would say that the Demon Hunter is favored into both of those matchups. The Hunter also, I think, is a pretty reasonable favorite, so I wouldn't be surprised to see CmaccompH switch to Hunter for this particular matchup. For LotusKnight, knowing that your opponent has the Demon Hunter, the Priest, and the Hunter, I probably think that the Mage is a better bet. The Priest you kind of want to, you want to run the Rogue into the Priest if you can choose between these opponents. So always a chance that you just run the Rogue out there hoping to hit that Priest. But I think it's going to be Mage versus Hunter for this next match.
Well, the players are still deciding here, and the only thing we know is that Lotus cannot once again play that Demon Hunter, as this is Conquest. This is a best of 5 for anybody who's just tuning in. We're only going into game 2 here. We are going to see Rogue versus Demon Hunter.
I love being completely wrong. It's fantastic.
Demon Hunter.
I have found my prey.
But this is a pretty good match too. So it's a little bit similar to the Mirror. I think the one difference is the Rogue has access to a little bit more damage, a little bit more board presence, but no healing. And so for the Demon Hunter, it's a matter of just kind of managing that board presence from the Rogue side, and then once you see them starting to commit to the all-in plan, which comes down about turn 5, 6, 7, responding with healing of your own. And we do see that CmaccompH does have the Eldrazi now, that he did not have last game, so hoping that that makes a bit of a difference for him in this matchup. And LotusKnight, faced with a choice that most Rogue players deal with, is whether or not to attack with your Spire Mistress on turn 1. Without a follow-up stealth in hand, it's pretty fair to wait and see if you can draw the Greyheart Sage on turn 3. Did not happen, but he is able to follow up with another stealth minion as well as a Dredge Corsair off the power that deadly poison. So pretty strong start for the Rogue here, being able to put some early pressure on the Demon Hunter.
Yeah, the waiting did tend to pay off there with the way that last turn happened for LotusKnight. I personally am of the school of thought that if you don't have that Greyheart Sage in hand, just roll with it. There's enough stealth in the deck that at some point you're going to have the ability to use it. Though I guess with it can be context sensitive based on the hand, of course. Looking at what Lotus has for follow-up play this next turn, really not a whole heck of a lot. And he can't play Jandis next turn. Eviscerate is wholly dependent on whether or not he gets an activator. So in this case, it might have actually been better to hold on to it. However, hard to know until after the next draw is revealed.
Generally, there's a good case to make for the Rogue player to just go ahead and just jam all damage face as much as possible. I think the counter in this case is the upside of potentially drawing that Sage on 3 with not too many other resources in hand made it worth taking the risk that you're going to lose out on a little bit of damage. So,
yeah, I think the problem is in this matchup with the Weapon Rogue, you're in a race against the healing that the Demon Hunter can put out, and that is a lot of healing. As we saw last game, it's very easy for a Demon Hunter to all of a sudden gain 12 health back in a single turn, and that just takes you out of range. So pretty much everything is going to have to go face for LotusKnight all the time, and he needs to continually draw very, very high value cards in order to outpace CmaccompH in the later stages of this game. But as we see, he's at 15 health right now, and we're only on turn 4, so we might not actually make it to the later stages of this game at this rate.
Yeah, so I think CmaccompH sees this and knows that, one, it was a kind of a weak turn by Lotus, but he did exactly what he needed to do, and that just pushed as much damage as possible. And for CmaccompH, knowing that a lot of the damage from the Weapon Rogue comes from the board and from a buffed self-sharpening sword, which Lotus does not have either at the moment until that moment in time. But he didn't have it equipped, so you know that the damage coming back was a little bit limited. So this is a pretty big play for Lotus being able to drop the Jandis, forcing CmaccompH to have AoE answer to it.
And I did like the ordering of CmaccompH there. He used the hero power to clear off the 3-1 and then equip the Warblade, so he'll still have 2 swings to heal with. We do see the Jandis come out for LotusKnight. The Illusion is the 4-4, which makes sense. It has less health anyway. The 4-5 will have its full complement of stats alongside the Jandis. So CmaccompH just basically to try to determine whether or not he's being messed with. Doesn't really matter because the Zaybound Adept would kill the 4-4 regardless of how much health it had.
Yeah, absolutely. Big pickup there. Valkyria Toxin Blade to go with the self-sharpening sword. Self-sharpening sword, SSS for us tongue-tied individuals, but that's just lethal.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes you just get there as the rogue. It doesn't really matter the matchup. And interestingly enough, no self-sharpening sword there, or at least not one that ended up being played, and wasn't really necessary.
Yeah, so Lotus correctly identifying all the damage Indigo face, and I wonder, you did make a comment about CmaccompH ordering of playing the Aldrachi after hitting, but I wonder, given the life total he was at, if playing the Aldrachi first, even if you're only healing for 2, might have been worth it in that situation. Normally, I agree with you that you want to maximize the healing on it, but at some point you have to kind of determine if yours too low for that that greed. So
you're right, and I think that might have been that one rare case where it is better to actually swing. Now, in retrospect, obviously we see the result of it, but if you're CmaccompH, you might feel like I'm pretty safe here, and I don't think I'm going to die from the health total that I'm at. I think it was at 11 at that point. But yeah, Lotus just picked up the right card at the right time. But we're moving on to game 3 now. Could be a quick series. Could be over here, as LotusKnight is only got the mage left, and CmaccompH is just going to keep jamming that Demon Hunter.
Yeah, no, I think this is correct from CmaccompH's perspective. I think Demon Hunter is probably the most favored of his 3 decks against the mage. There are ways for the mage to win, and Lotus just drew one of them in the Shinball. So we'll see if CmaccompH is able to navigate this matchup from a theoretically favored position. But having the coin is a big help for CmaccompH as well, mostly because you're denying the mage having that coin. So I think he's happy to be going second in this matchup. So the things that you're looking out for as a Demon Hunter is dealing with the Shambhala, dealing with the Mana Giants. Lotus is running one Conjurer's Calling, so that does make a little bit trickier if he's able to generate a whole bunch of spells and get those Giants out for cheaper. But until that point, the Demon Hunter can just pressure down Mage's Life Total, because once again, the Mage has no healing either. And we saw it didn't matter in the last matchup because the Rogue's damage was too much too fast. But Mages don't usually put out that much damage that early, so the lack of healing can be a liability.
And everyone's favorite pickup off Primordial Studies, that Astromancer Solarian, which means that Lotus now has at least 2 potential primes in this deck, which is another way this deck can just get over any obstacle, really, because you never know what's going to pop out of the mini Yogg box, so to speak.
Yeah, Solarian Prime is definitely a really good card in this matchup. Kind of swing unfavorable situations back to your side. And a big pickup for CmaccompH, getting the Soul Shear, giving him a clean answer to the Solarian without having to face tank it with a Chaos Strike. Can't get out of Chaos Strike, so he would have been able to do that as well. But this way, he keeps his life total up a little bit and answers immediate threat.
And a slower turn there by Lotus as he just pops a Secret on. It's a mirror image, but holding that Sorcerer's Apprentice to pair with a Chenvala for next turn can definitely get a 5/5 on board with the use of both Raider Frost and Arcane Missiles this upcoming turn.
Yeah, so CmaccompH having that Marrow Slicer equipped makes that a little more challenging. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Lotus is reaching for the Raz instead, knowing that only being able to cast a single 5/5 makes you very susceptible to Blade Dance, especially with the Marrow Slicer equipped. So I like this decision from Lotus to go with the Raz instead.
Yeah, it was a quick recognition. He did obviously kind of have that setup in mind, but yeah, the Marrow Slicer changed the game plan, and we're going to just see that Raz unfortunately deal 1 damage and die because the Marrow Slicer can take it out. But the question now becomes, does CmaccompH waste the Blade Dance? I think that would be obviously a very huge error, but he might opt to do that instead if he wants to go ahead and deal damage to Fate. Or is he just going to leave it up?
There's a chance that he just decides to ignore it altogether.
Sure.
Because once again, Mage is no healing, so maybe he's just thinking that he can take the burn plan himself, knowing that he drew the other Marrow Slicer. He has the Eldrazi if he needs to go the healing route instead, but yeah, taking the aggressive line.
Let's go back to the beginning game of this series where we talked about knowing when to turn the corner as the DH and when you can be aggressive and when you need to be aggressive. And oh my goodness, this is just every Solarian that has ever existed in the game now. And we're going to see extra damage off of the Raz, and yeah, it's a scary board if you can't get the kill here in the next turn or two for CmaccompH.
Yeah, so now he has to figure out what is his best line of dealing with this. He's attacked with everything faced, so I think he knows at this point that it's a mirror image, because I think he's tested every other possibility. So Soul Shear is likely to be played here, as well as the Mystic, but that's still going to leave up something. So he has to choose. Choosing to silence the Raz to prevent any additional 5/5s being made. And also choosing to kill it as well. Interesting. I think I might have silenced the Raz there if I was going to Soul Shear. Interesting use there. I think. Yeah, I don't know if that's that big of a misplay, but...
Well, why not kill the 5/2 if you've already silenced the Chenvala?
Right. Yeah, kill the 5/2 or kill the Raz, or silence the Raz if you're killing the 5/2. But maybe he just decided after the fact that Chenvala needed to die anyway. So, maybe a little questionable, maybe a little rushed, but kind of still in an awkward spot here with a lot of damage coming back the other way from LotusKnight.
The one saving grace for CmaccompH is that he's not frozen in any way, so he does have the capability to swing with his 4-blade. He will probably have to Blade Dance as well. I imagine can clear the whole board. He can just go ahead and smack into a 3/2, Blade Dance, kill everything, and hope that's enough stabilizing for now to at least get him through this next turn.
Yeah, so the Mage, is not running Frost Bolts, not running Fireballs, does not currently have any Generate spells other than the Arcane Missiles off the Spell Wing. So, you're not expecting to be burned out now. Evocation obviously always changes that equation, but Selenium Prime also can change that. LotusKnight picks
There's
up
Jandis.
big draw here because he was starting to run a little low on resources.
Instantly played. Well, I think we
Oh,
know
no.
which one's going to be the 1 health minion.
Yep.
The Blood Herald is already at 1 health. The worst pickup off of the Jandis. Takan is alright at a 4-4.
We'll probably start with one maker here. Figure out what additional options we have to work with.
Yeah, really, I'm sure hoping for ultimately
You
Twin
don't
Slice,
the walks, eh?
which he does not get. The Mana Burn, not really impactful considering what's in LotusKnight's hand right now. But he does have another Warblades, so that's all right.
Alright, so LotusKnight gets 2 random spells out of this, in addition to freezing the 6/4. I guess there's a chance that all 4 missiles hit the 6/4, so maybe we wait to freeze just in case, but I think this is totally
In
fine.
fact, none of them hit the 6/4. Mirror Entity and Spellbender. Not the highest impact there as far as spells that you could have gotten out of the Cyclone. Obviously looking for burn. But this is still now... ooh, a Skull.
Without knowing what that secret is, it's a little bit risky. Because if it's counterspell, you probably just lose.
Well, you can trot out the Mana Burn first if you'd like.
You're only at 6 mana, right? Or is he at 9?
He was
Sorry,
at 9, yeah.
That's right. Numbers are not upside down, even though the cards are.
No, they are not.
Warlock.
And unfortunately, the Twin Slice gets
Alas,
affected by the Soul Fragment draw. So now he can't use the Twin Slice plus Eldrachi this turn. However, he can use the Eldrachi to heal just a little bit. Actually, second Twin Slice was picked up there. So yeah, why not?
So the question is, I think he just plays the. Well, I guess he. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say there's a chance that he just plays the Mystic here, but I think being a little safer with the healing makes sense.
Yeah, I have no problem with doing that. You know, it wasn't going to be a counterspell, so you were okay to go ahead, get a little bit of healing back. Lotus didn't have burn to your knowledge because he didn't play that spell before he played his secret last turn, so he would have had the mana to do like fireball or anything along those lines. So yeah,
now
this
the new
is
secret to navigate.
you do.
He still has the damage, even if it's a counterspell. You can mana burn first.
Right.
Just to test for it.
And also can just throw 1 Twin Slice and Marrow Slicer anyway, so.
Right. Yeah, so I think this is a pretty safe navigation. The only thing that would prevent this game from ending right away would be an Ice Barrier. But even then, the mage has no presence on board, other than this 3/2, and no cards in hand, so I think you're feeling pretty good even if this was an Ice Barrier. We know it's not. We know that this game is now over. But well played by CmaccompH.
Yep, always good to, even if you're reasonably sure, just make sure you go through the motions, navigate the secrets the correct way. Just don't want to make any stupid mistakes that will result in a loss for no reason at all. And we do see CmaccompH gets on the board here, and now it is a 2-1 series lead for LotusKnight, with the DH finally getting a win in the 3rd game for CmaccompH.
Yeah, I think we are going to see that Hunter now. I think CmaccompH is going to want to play as Hunter, and I think it lines up well against the Mage. And I would be surprised if he queues up the Priest. But I was surprised once already, so we will see. Alright, got one right.
We all deserve a win every once in a while, my friend.
Your curiosity will be the end of
Should tell it to my THL opponents, so that's why we win sometimes. This week did not go well for me.
I feel you. Last week was a 3-loss, 1-9 romp for me, so I understand what a bad week feels like.
Yeah. It does a little better than 1-9, but anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
Hey,
CmaccompH. CmaccompH with the Demon Companion start, holding and breaking Thelma, so he's got some of the early game damage that he's going to want to beat down this mage.
Yeah, so what are you looking for as mage in this matchup here? Is an obviously very, very aggressive deck.
Yeah, so you're not running Firebrands, which is usually what you want to see. So in place of that, you're looking for potentially a Shambhala Source Use the first turn. You're looking for your Spell Wings and Lab Partners just to have some presence on the board. Just basically anything you can just to absorb some of the damage. that the Hunter's trying to put out.
Well, the good news is that he does, in fact, have both Shenvala and Sorcerer's Apprentice, so a lot of cheap spells, too. Just going to take it slow, clear off one of the minions, and, like you said, 2 turns from now could be setting up for quite the turn out of Shenvala.
Yeah, it's a matter of making it to that point, because Shenvala by itself doesn't directly contest the board. It puts a lot of stats out there, but if the Hunter's just killing you anyway, you can ignore it and you're dead. But
so new game plan here with the Cyclone pickup.
Yep. So he's going to be able to do a lot of damage to this board and generate a lot of spells. So this is pretty good. Arcane Breath makes a lot of sense, even without a dragon, just to clear some of this damage. Actually, you target that at the 2-1. I think, yeah, I guess this one into the 2-2. The math just works out better. So.
And he will utilize every spell at his disposal. Cyclone's going to bring back, I think, 6, if I counted correctly.
Yes.
And there it is. Ooh, a couple board clearing cards, too, with a Flame Strike, Arcane Explosion, Icicle, if
2
you
Icicles.
are... Oh, yes,
Icicles.
a pair of Icicles.
There we go. I made my appearance within the game.
And Devolving Missiles is a great target there. That 5/4 that's going to pop out will immediately become very weak.
So now CmacCompH faced with a choice. He can play the Eagle One Bow to immediately answer this Sorcerer's Apprentice, which I think is correct. The other option was he was kind of hovering the face off there. His secrets in deck, he has 2 freezing, 1 attack tactics, and 1 pressure plate. Not exactly the best to deal with what LotusKnight had, but you can't leave a Sorcerer's Apprentice alive, especially not knowing it, but the fact that Lotus had that Shenvala would have been a massive punish. So
yeah, that would have absolutely ended the game right there. Not to mention the fact that if he had, gotten the freezing, send the Cyclone back to hand, that's not ideal either.
Right, exactly. Yeah, unlikely that Lotus would have been able to play it at any point, but still, it is another resource generator that you don't really want to give the mage access to.
I think that's an interesting difference that you might see in Pro Series here versus one of our closed list series, because you know the exact secret package the Face Hunter's running, and the secret package can vary a little bit from time to time. Some tend to run explosives to go full aggression. Then you've got the pack tactics. Snake Trap rarely makes an appearance, but it gets the freezing trap anyway. So yeah, that's I think navigating that is a little bit different here in this series than it would be in a closed list format.
And we're going to see a full board clear and a giant follow-up. So LotusKnight putting some pressure back on the CmacCompH. Now that said, CmacCompH at this point is looking at damage. So we'll see if it's enough to kind of outrace this giant, but it's definitely going to be close. Something to start with
is a Wolpertinger.
Yeah. So another way to get some more board presence down. I think he's really hoping to hit the other Wolpertinger here off of this one. It's the face offer, so he's only going to be able to play the 3/3s. But that might be enough. We'll see how LotusKnight approaches this. Another devolving, wow, big pickup.
Is it cold in here?
The one that's actually run in the deck. And being able to push Shenvala as a second elemental also huge.
Yeah, because he knows he's about to draw those spells.
So this is going to give him one. It's going to knock these 3/3s down into 1/1s, I would think. I would assume that he's playing, or no, he's just going to freeze them. Okay, so he doesn't even want to mess with it. He's just going to get a 5/5 out and get the damage up.
Lets him continue to push that damage, and pretty much like he's representing lethal now against CmacCompH. He could just end this right here. CmacCompH will have to use that kill command in a defensive capacity.
Yeah, this is tough. I don't know what sequence gets CmacCompH out of this, because you might have to kill command the 5/5. Yeah, I think he's going to start with the Face Stalker, probably do a power, which, if it gives Freezing Trap, is fine, but it'll just be Shenvala and the Giant still goes face. He does get Pressure Plate, so that's not great either. We'll see what his next choice is. But yeah, I think kill command the 5/5 is sort of a necessity at this point. And your opponent still has a couple generators spells in hand, so you have to be thinking there's a good chance you're dead here. But now if you're LotusKnight, you don't have guaranteed lethal. So
Flame
let's see
Strike,
what
though.
Oh yeah, Flame Strike is definitely the choice. Good sequencing, attacking first.
Not the target he was hoping would get hit by that pressure plate.
Yeah. So now if you're CmaccompH, I think you just drop everything on the board. Dragon's Bane, Dorwell Infestation it, Hero Power. I wonder if you swing into the Shambhala first, guarantee the 5 damage going face. I think at this point you do, because I think it is a likelier chance that you win, having seen the opponent not be able to kill you with 5 life.
Right.
Nothing in the deck kills you with 5 life. So,
As you said there, it's a full board commitment from CMAC, or he might hold the cub back just to have a
I think you hold the cub just to have a fuel
kill
for
command.
kill command.
Oh, the Solarian! Is that enough? Devolving missiles. So we got Ras. That can come out. A cheap Solarian, a mana
You still have to answer this
reservoir is
thing.
only it's only 2 damage across the board, so it's
I
not
think you're
enough.
Yeah, you start with ping and then devolve. And you hope for a 1 HP minion. And it does not. So now you need this Candace to give you something that deals with this taunt.
Oh, a taunt!
Taunt is very
Yeah,
helpful.
easy decision there to make the 2/7 the illusion.
And I think that's going to do it. There's nothing now for CmaccompH to do.
No.
You need to kill command off the top.
Yeah, the
And
taunt was
Jandis
huge.
delivers. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he wouldn't have had it anyway. He would have been 1 damage off. But, yeah, Jandis definitely delivered in that game.
You here for the tour?
So congrats to LotusKnight, getting a 3-1 series win, beating CmaccompH Space Hunter for the final win with a mage. Well played. We play Raz and all of our spell damage minions for style points. Nope, we go for the ping.
Just the gentlemanly ping. Nothing too crazy there for Lotus. And all right, so that was I mean, time-wise, a fairly quick series, only about 40 minutes for 4 games. But that, I guess we never saw either warrior because they were banned, and we didn't see the control priest either. So that was, I guess, merciful in terms of cast time tonight. But yeah, so
Listen,
we only the 1 series.
Some of us like priest games. Some of us like casting priest games.
It's true.
They're interesting. Maybe some people don't like watching them, so maybe it was a mercy on our viewers. But
For sure.
nonetheless, good series. Well played by both players, and well-deserved victory by LotusKnight.
Let's see if we can get Lotus in here for a quick interview. We can. Alright, let's add him to the DM real quick. Hey, Lotus, can you hear us?
Sounds like you just joined. Hey, Lotus, you there?
Hey,
How's it going?
good. How are the two of you?
Doing well.
Pretty good, pretty good. Good to see some good Hearthstone.
Yeah, congratulations on the win.
Thank you. This was quite the match. I mean, it was an aggro match pretty much.
It was. We were talking about, obviously, the ban of the warrior for both of you there, and we never saw CmaccompH priest, so it was a lot of really aggressive. I mean, Soul DH isn't aggressive, but it's certainly more aggressive than like a control warrior, control priest deck. But you won a couple matches there, like the rogue in particular, that might have been otherwise considered to be unfavorable for you. So I'm kind of curious. I love weapon rogue, so I want to hear your thoughts as a weapon rogue player in that game. Like, what was your thought process attacking the Soul DH?
Against the Soul DH, that matchup is all about killing them fast enough so they can't get enough value. out of their Eldrazi Warblades. Because once that card starts healing, it can heal. They easily heal for 10. And
Right.
10 is basically one self-sharpening sword without buffs. So really, you need to dump it fast if you're going to go that route. And my hand, I didn't have enough card draw or sustain to go long. So it was all about, can I just kill him fast enough that the match will be done by turn 6, or am I going to draw enough sustain to try to go for a little bit longer?
Yeah, getting that top deck Toxin Blade was pretty key there, as you got the exact
Yeah.
lethal at the end of the game. Didn't need all the card draw.
Right. There were a few cards that would have worked there.
For sure.
I mean, Secret Passage, pretty good chance of working. Deadly Poison, Toxin Blade, but I'm not complaining.
No, any of those is good, and a win
Yeah.
is good. So
No, I
not
think
the-
the key was just setting up the damage ahead of time. You know, we were commenting on the merits of attacking with a 3-1 on turn 1 versus saving it in case you drew the Sage. And it ended up working out, even though you didn't draw the Sage and didn't attack on turn 1, you were still able to get there in the end. So, pretty interesting kind of line from there.
It's a really interesting deck to play. I really like playing Weapon Rogue, even though it's an aggro deck. It's kind of a classic deck, but it just has so many strengths. And yeah, it's not seen as a tier 1 deck right now, but I think it has way more potential than people are giving it credit. It basically can beat a lot of the big players in this meta.
well,
And I'm with you there. I think it's
Yeah.
definitely a little underrated as a deck. It's kind of been there since the start of this meta, and some of the other rogue lists have gotten more attention, but I think Weapon Rogue has been a steady performer all throughout.
yeah, it's not a flashy deck. It has a very straightforward strategy, like you said. You want to just do damage, but it can backfire. Obviously, if you drew the self sharpening sword, but you didn't even end up playing it. You just had damage from other sources that ended up being better. And this was also a big win for your team, as you got another win this week. This already locks up the victory with the 2 matches still to go. I think we discussed that maybe Lawful Dog and Avi are playing right now. Is that correct?
Our team is really bad at communicating, so let's say
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, I still show
We'll
them
pretend
both.
you didn't out them in front of everybody here.
No, they're
But
both.
they know. I've always said that. I mean, our team doesn't talk that much, but we're all friends. It's working out, so we're not going to do anything else, really.
It's all about
And
the
broke,
wins, as
don't
long
fix
as you're
it.
getting the wins.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you're a little ways behind for the boys in the standings right now, but this is a big week here to try and catch them a little bit and create some separation between your team and that group of teams that are kind of fighting for the 4th spot right now.
Right. Yeah. I do want to thank Liquidox, though, for putting his lineup early in pro so I could steal it. So,
Okay,
wanted
shout
to
out to
You
Liquid.
actually steal it card for card.
yeah, I
Looks like-
just looked at his lineup. I like this. Yeah, I'll take it.
So you Cobalt Sticky Fingers his lineup. Okay. I'm
I was
actually
gonna say
looking at his
you
lineup right
were
now, and he
fobbed it.
absolutely took the exact lineup.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Oh my
Good.
goodness.
Yeah,
Good to know.
I've
So
done that before.
should we give Hype Horizon 4 more points this week, or?
Do they even need it at this point?
I don't think they
Can we
need it,
take-
but they're not going to say no.
I could claim that really what happened was Liquidox read my mind, knew I
yeah.
wanted this, so brought it, and then I just copied him because he had done the work for me.
Yeah, the codes were already there. There was no reason to actually put the decks in yourself. I get it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever works.
And whatever
Yeah,
works,
no, but
it worked tonight.
It did. Can't complain.
No, not at all. Well,
And,
any other thoughts you have for us here?
I want to shout out to CMAC. CMAC is an awesome opponent and a great player. The weird meta. Both of us are not doing super amazing in this meta, but it's a really weird meta, and it's fun to play him.
Yeah, C-Mac's definitely a good player, good guy. It's actually, let me ask you this, because we were talking about this at the top too. When you banned his warrior, did you ban that purely off reputation, or did you see something in the lineup that made you want to ban the warrior?
Well, Demon Hunter doesn't super want to face Warrior. It's a pretty meh matchup. Mage doesn't want to face Warrior, and Weapon Rogue can be fine, but he had that sticky finger. And that sticky finger completely changes the matchup for Weapon Rogue if he hits it. So
Hmm.
I didn't think the Priest was as big of a threat as the Warrior would be, so I thought the Warrior was the correct ban.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't play the Priest because I was not looking forward to facing that deck. I really don't like playing against Priest.
Yeah, it was interesting that he held it. Kind of makes sense a little bit. It wasn't always the best into what you were playing, but yeah, you kind of got there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing the final results from this match, just to see if Bad to the Bone can maximize their points for the week. And this one definitely a tough blow for Tap Blast, as they're trying to get back into the playoff race. But yeah, you did what you had to do tonight. Lotus, congratulations again.
Thank you. Can I give a shout out to Schoolstone tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. Plug it.
We're coming live tomorrow at noon Eastern for the insane Hype Horizon versus Due Process match,
There we
brought to
go.
you by Donde himself. So thank you for that one, and I'm really excited to see that match.
Yeah, not only that, we'll have two more matches on Sunday night as well. I'm trying to find the exact matches right now. I don't know if you have them up on your screen, Lotus. This is the advantage of having somebody else who is in the in the chat that has all
Yes,
the matches with it.
there's Chewbacca versus G Kick for Hero. G Kick lost the first time on Schoolstone and is back for revenge, and followed by Based versus Donde himself.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted somebody else to call out the match. I didn't want to call it out myself. But that is a fun one. I know our team, My Chemical Skullomance, is not a playoff contender right now, but we can still spoil a little bit. And a match against base is always fun, so that should be a pretty hype one. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to those matches tomorrow. Definitely tune back in. We will be back with you next Saturday, of course. Hopefully, we can get a pair of matches next week instead. Icicles, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Lotus, thank you again. And thanks to everybody out there for tuning in. And we will see you next Saturday. Make sure to tune in tomorrow to Schoolstone, noon Eastern Time. That is our next stream. And good luck if you haven't played yet this week in any series. We will see you next time.
Have a good night.